It's no secret that TT hasn't blessed the LEGO community with a new release since 2022 with the Skywalker Saga. This was until recently, but not too recently. They re-released a remaster of the LEGO Harry Potter collection, but this time it was for PC and new-gen consoles. You heard me right, they remastered a remaster. This seemed to upset a lot of people since the game was seemingly exactly the same, but I can assure you, no one was as upset as I was seeing how I bought both games on Steam literally a month before it was released.
LEGO 100% games.
LEGO Harry Potter, both 1 through 4 and 5 through 7, are a couple of games that really solidified LEGO games as my favorite. A lot like how I said LEGO brought me to Pirates of the Caribbean in that video, which you should definitely watch. It also brought me towards Harry Potter. I remember always wanting to explore Hogwarts with my brother and the game feeling so open in comparison to other LEGO games that had come before. Now, with my exposition out of the way, I want to establish my goal for this video. Answer the question, is buying this worth it? And what a better way than by playing 100% of the game so you don't have to. Now, brace yourself, this video will be longer because it is technically two different games in one. If you need to get out another device and get Subway Surfers blasted up, I understand. Another quick side note, I am trying to get 100% on every LEGO game before I reach 5,000 subscribers. If I don't, I will get a LEGO tattoo of your guys' choice. So you should subscribe because 99% of you aren't yet. Alright, so we technically have an option of picking 1 through 4 or 5 through 7, but I'm a normal person, so I'll pick years 1 through 4. The game starts with the doorstep adoption of Harry Potter via important people like Hagrid, Dumbledore, and Professor McGonagall. Then we cut to the future where Harry is basically a slave for his aunt and uncle due to that doorstep adoption. They start receiving letters like how I received your mother's numbers, and it drives Harry's cruel uncle insane, so they go on a little island where Hagrid greets Harry for the first time. Hagrid delivers his iconic line and mumbles and takes Harry to actually begin our wizarding journey. We make our way through the leaky cauldron in Diagon Alley, and honestly, yeah, the game looks really good. After completing our back to school shopping, we conclude this level. We part ways with Hagrid and meet the Weasleys. We also learn how to perfectly split the atoms in a wall to get to the legendary platform 9 3/4. And we meet Hermione, which is just a nerd who happens to be important. We then all get sorted into Gryffindor, which is like Sigma or whatever, and we begin year 1 of this game. This is technically kind of a structured free roam story experience. There are small missions that allow us to learn new skills like Wingardium Leviosa or the levitation spell as you see here. Our fun of exploring an awesome magic castle is ruined by a troll that enters the dungeon and stupid Hermione is stuck in the bathroom. So we run head on into danger. Y'all be doing anything to impress the Huzz. After cross-dressing, we make it to the girls' bathroom where we have to manage to take out the troll in the first boss fight of this game. And yeah, it's pretty cool. Eventually, we drop his mallet on his own head, saving Hermione and ending this level. We're back to messing around in the castle and we learn Lumos, which just creates a light source and can repel plants, even though most plants actually enjoy light. After evading this logic, we meet an evil-looking Snape, and he teaches us how to brew the strength potion. After success there, we head to the field where we discover Harry is really good at riding a broom, and Hermione is not. This leads us straight into our next level. With Harry being such an epic wizard legend, they allow him to be on the Quidditch team, his first year. Talk about a nepo baby. All of a sudden, Harry's broom starts wheezing out, and we suspect it has something to do with sus Snape. So we make our way through the stands to take care of him. After a decent amount of puzzles, we make it to him, and Nerdmini lights him on fire, and suspiciously, Harry's broom works properly, and he wins the game to finish off the level. Now it's Christmas time, and Harry gets an invisibility cloak from his dead father, and he instantly decides to use it for evil intentions of following Dumbledore with no reasonable explanation in regards to the story. In the actual story, they're looking for information on what's inside the castle that all the teachers have been keeping a secret. This section is so annoying, I'm not gonna lie. The freaking monster books that eat me for walking too close is so unreasonably obnoxious. Anyways, we keep pursuing Dumbledore until we make it to a mirror that shows us our deepest desires. And Ron might be an American because Harry's is all like, man, I wish I had my parents. And Ron's is like, girls, captain of the Quidditch team, bear. Anyways, that spooky stuff is over and past and we're on to the next level. Something has been hurting unicorns in the forest, so Hagrid takes us to look for it. And for reasons of plot, the perfect Aryan child Malfoy is with us. Hagrid pulls a Scooby-Doo and has us split up for no reason. Uh-oh, Harry and Malfoy get in trouble, so we must make our way through the forest. By the way, it's called the Forbidden Forest. What the fuck? We make it to Harry just for us to watch him almost die and be saved by a centaur. Or a half-horse, half-guy for the uneducated. Using my context clues, we see sneaky Professor Turban sneaking things into a forbidden place, and that raises some red flags for this group of literal 11-year-olds, and hence decide to follow him. They are confronted by a giant 3-headed dog who's been awoken and is upset. We rebuild his harp so he's ready to behave again, so we can continue through the forbidden area. Using all the knowledge we've obtained through this first year of wizarding, we continue through the castle's secret areas, until Harry and Hermione make it to Mr. Turban Man. But it turns out he's actually like 1/2 Voldemort, or something along those lines. Harry uses his wizard aids to touch kinda gross Voldemort and kill him. But his spirit remains and makes Harry faint like a dweeb. Once Harry wakes up, Dumbledore and all of his friends are there to greet him, and everyone lives happily ever after. Year 2 time, baby! We're started by seeing Harry back in his miserable house, but all of a sudden some testicle-looking elf shows up and gets Harry in trouble. So he can't go to Hogwarts this year, leaving the Weasley brothers to save him. They get to their house, and I have no clue why they act like this is a bad house, because look at that square footage. Harry is then introduced to the wonders of traveling via Floo powder, but unfortunately Harry can't do anything right and ends up in some creepy shop. Fortunately, Hagrid is there to save the day, and totally not to give player 2 an option to play as. They eventually make it back to Diagon Alley and meet some famous wizard, who will become important within the next 2 minutes of this video likely. Malfoy's dad knowledge roofies Ron's younger sister Jenny, and this concludes the level. The ballsack elf, Dobby, continues his nuisanceness towards Harry Potter by closing the magical portal thing that allows Harry and Ron to make it to the train. So they have to take Ron's dad's car to get to the school. Some silliness ensues and they make it to Hogwarts with only a small amount of CTE, and the car runs away. Once we are there, we get straight to work by learning how to deal with mandrakes, which are annoying ugly baby plants that scream and break glass. The time has now come where the famous wizard has become important, and he is now the defense against the dark arts teacher. Ooh. Anyways, he tries to teach about pixies and they get loose and terrorize the place, so using an extremely specific spell, we are able to freeze and take care of them. After some yap involving spiders and the janitor's cat becoming frozen, for reasons I'm sure really don't matter, we get into another Quidditch match. I sure hope this one goes better for Harry. Maybe we'll even get to play this time. Oh, nope, Dobby's back at it again. But I've had enough, so I'm gonna give him the work. Eventually we stop him, but Harry practically dies. Don't fret though, because he won the game for the team, and that's all that matters. Famous guy tries to help, but doesn't, and ends up sending Harry to the infirmary. We make some potion to help cure his squishy bones, and that finishes off the level. We also see another person get frozen, but surely that's just a coincidence. There's some plot stuff I'm gonna skip over because it will be boring. Basically, Harry has to duel Malfoy, and they accidentally find out that Harry can talk to snakes, and that's not a good thing, especially with the whole freezing people thing going on. Because Malfoy has evil aura, the three decide to go sniffing around and find out what's going on with all that sus stuff. So we learn how to make a polyjuice potion purely for the purpose of kidnapping Malfoy's best friends, taking their clothes, and turning into them so we can abuse Malfoy's trust. Only because we're good guys, and that justifies our actions, right? Hermione also accidentally turns into a cat, but I believe she just wanted to be her true self, and that's okay. We make it into Slytherin's surprisingly complex to get into dorms, and then run away when we see Malfoy, but I thought that was the whole, whatever, level done. Hermione, while nerding out in the library no doubt, sees some giant snake and becomes frozen. I don't know man, these coincidences are getting kinda out of hand. Hermione is carrying a faucet, so we assume it's a clue and go to the girls' bathroom, and the sad ghost of Myrtle is all like, get out bro, while she throws comically large items at us. We defeat her and find a book on the ground. Harry opens it and it transports him back into the past. We get to work with Tom Riddle, who's just some guy, and make it to Hagrid. This section was actually pretty cool. Anyways, Harry's back to the present and we begin to follow some ominously moving spiders. We then see Jenny pick up that weird book, and that wraps that one up. We follow the spiders right out to Hagrid's hut, but I accidentally triggered this quick mission, which I'm sure most of you probably haven't played. Anyways, Hagrid, for reasons, gets taken away about being on Epstein's list. Release the files. And he encourages us to follow the spiders. So, we do. We get another forest section, which is pretty much exactly the same as the last, and I'm not a huge fan, TBH. We make it to the end of the trail of spiders where we meet Hagrid's giant pet spider, who isn't very helpful due to the fact that he wants to eat us. So, we must fight him. Once we throw enough of his own spawn at him, we begin to make our escape via car that came back to rescue us. We then get a chase level, which I happen to actually mess up a few times, so that's fun. We survived, and that's the end of that part. We go to check on our good friend, and it appears that he's planning on dipping on us when we need him most, so we're not gonna allow that. We make him go with us to find the Chamber of Secrets, or whatever this book's about. We actually discover the chamber in the girls' bathroom, and go down there. Teach tries to switch up on us, but unfortunately for him, he used Ron's wand, which broke earlier, and the spell backfires. We hurry up and make it to Jenny, who is just chilling with the spirit of Tom Riddle, who also happens to be Voldemort. Uh-oh. There's also the basilisk, which is just a huge snake that can kill with just the sight of its eyes. Fortunately, after making him kick some rocks, Dumbledore's phoenix scratches its eyes to assist us. I then got stuck at this part for way too long, figured it out, and slayed the basilisk. After, I defeated Voldemort. Again. But this time it was just by stabbing a book. Poor guy cannot die normally, huh? Anyways, they all ride away on the phoenix and live happily ever after again. Well, until Year 3. I'm already on page 8 of the script, so I might get more concise with some of these levels and the smaller sections. If there are plot holes, that's your fault for not reading my mind, and you should have been subscribed so you can watch me play these live in real time. Harry's family still sucks, and it makes him run away until he's picked up by a magical purple bus. We make it to the leaky cauldron and find out a madman serial killer, who may want Harry dead, has escaped the most deadly prison, like, ever. On some calm, though. There's a boss battle against a book, and it's time to go back to Hogwarts, but this time it's difficult for no reason to get on the train. We're forced to sit with some weirdo, and all of a sudden the train stops and Harry is gone. With the help of said weirdo, we find Harry to be getting the craziest double team ever. over. It had bro passed out. Gangbang aside, the level is over. Now we learn a spell which has no real benefits other than helping with some puzzles. We meet Hagrid's hippogriff and so does Malfoy, but his experience wasn't as pleasant and totally won't result in an execution or anything. Now it's time for everyone to go to Hogsmeade, which is a little town close by. But Harry couldn't get a permission slip signed, so he's forced to stay. Unless he works with Ron's older brothers Fred and George to get out of the castle and enjoy his time at Hogsmeade. Until we run into Malfoy and they have an epic snowball fight where he built a freaking cannon, yo. After defeating him, chat was wondering what my Hogwarts house was, so I took a quick quiz and got Gryffindor, obviously, because I'm one of the main characters. That last level is over, by the way. Fred and George gave Harry this map that lets you see everyone, and for some reason, it was showing someone that's supposed to be dead. So Ron and Harry follow it to figure out what's going on with that. All fun and games until Snape catches them and flashbangs them. And that's like all that really happens in this level. Before the next level, I start feeling myself and learn how to get rid of the sucky dudes. Remember when I said the thing about the execution? Well, that time has come. And that poor hippogriff. SMH. Ron's stupid rat runs away to some big evil tree, aka the Whomping Willow. Suddenly, a wolf shows up and drags Ron into the tree. Harry and Hermione take on the tree so that they can follow them, and once they make it to Ron, it turns out the wolf was the crazy lunatic Sirius Black. You know, the guy that wanted to kill Harry. But that weirdo professor dude jumps in and gives him a hug. Then Snape comes in to save everyone, and this dude Harry blows off his muffin cap. And then we get to play as Lupin and Sirius Black and try to kill that stupid rat. They catch him, and it turns out to be the person that was dead. Are you guys getting this? Well, now Lupin turns into a werewolf, and Sirius has to turn into a wolf again to protect everyone. But who's gonna protect Sirius? So Harry and Hermione follow the two fighting alphas. Sirius dies, so Harry follows him only to be jumped by at least a million sucky dudes. He is saved by a big old Patronus blast, and that ends this level. Before we get into our next level, we get to see Ron hitting the stanky leg to go check in on Harry in the infirmary once again. That's when Hermione takes Harry back in time, which is something she's been able to do since the beginning of the school year, allegedly. We then free our good pal Buckbeak the hippogriff. We also make a distraction for Sirius Black to get saved from the werewolf Lupin. Then past Harry gets ganged up on and we decide to save him, and it turns out the Patronus from earlier was Harry's the whole time. We aren't done though. Now it's time to save Sirius Black because he's actually not a murderer and it was all just a big misunderstanding. So we get to do this really cool section where we get to see places of the castle that we wouldn't typically be able to go to. So that's epic. Blah blah blah. We save, bro, and that's it. Year 3 is over and year 4 has begun. It starts off with Harry having a nightmare where a little baby thing kills a milkman. Not cool, yo. But Ron and Hermione wake him up and tell him it's time to go somewhere. That somewhere would be the Quidditch World Cup, but honestly that doesn't matter in the context of the Lego game. Some evil wizards, or Death Eaters if you will, show up and start burning the place down. We have a girl power moment and it's up to Ginny and Hermione to save everyone. After a while of going through a bunch of burning debris, we make it to the end where Harry is being beaten up by Death Eaters and a snake in the sky, so we save him and everything is a-okay. We get a light time skip and we're back at Hogwarts, and so are a bunch of different schools because we're hosting the Tri-Wizard Tournament, which is basically like the Olympics for people that don't care about the well-being of young wizards. It involves a manly cool school, a dainty baddie school, and then there's Hogwarts. You have to be a certain age to enter the tournament, so we must help Fred and George to conjure up a potion that will be used twice total to be able to get in and put names into the goblet. It doesn't even work for them. Somehow, Harry gets selected even though he didn't put his name in the goblet, and everyone's upset with Harry. Hagrid is awesome, like always, and wants to help, so he takes Harry to find out what he's up against, and it just happens to be frickin' dragons, and that's epic. This level's kinda lame though, as it's just us walking around dragon cages and doing random stuff. Once it's over, I'm happy and Hagrid starts to get rizzy at the end. We have a quick lesson to learn Reducto, or the explosion spell, and it's time to get into that first challenge of the Tri-Wizard challenges. For reasons of co-op, Hermione gets dragged into it and we have to defeat a dragon. I actually like this as opposed to the last dragon level. It even turns into a and Harry grabs the golden egg thing, claiming his glory for this challenge. Harry doesn't really know what to do with the egg, so he takes it to the girls' bathroom, like he always does when he's unsure of what to do. And with the help of Myrtle, we're able to start up a bath. After killing some random scorpions, Harry finds the key to the next challenge and also a potential fling for the one time. For the next level, we made our way to the docks for the challenge. This level is regarded as people's least favorite level from this game, and I'm not sure about that, because it really isn't that bad. The level is an underwater level that drags on a bit, and in my opinion, the worst feature is how the foreground and background break, so you have to go through pipes to do certain puzzles like this at the end, but other than that, it isn't that bad. I don't really care though, because that level's over after Harry heroically saves 2 people, which the goal was only to save their 1 person. He is Wizard Jesus though, so are we surprised? We make it to the last level of the game, and it's a maze challenge. I remember playing this level on repeat when I was younger, just because of the end, but I won't spoil that for you yet. Basically, they get into a maze and the goal is to get this trophy thing, but this dude from the super cool school is all possessed and whatnot, so he's moving on demon timing. Harry and Cedric work together to get through the maze and not be killed. guild. I haven't mentioned Cedric, but he is an awesome guy, and I'm super excited to continue his legacy through the rest of the years. Anyways, we make it to the trophy, but it turns out to be a portkey and teleports them to some gravestone. And there's the loser rat guy waiting for us. He uses Harry's glasses to regenerate Voldemort, and things aren't looking good. This section is why I replayed this level so much. I loved how this boss fight looked and played. Truly generational stuff. After 3 rounds of that, I take down Voldemort, and Cedric and Harry make it back to the portkey. Except Voldy gets his get back and slimes Cedric as he goes through. And oh my goodness. TT, why did you have to do him so dirty? Murder aside, we watch the schools leave, and that concludes years 1 through 4. Alright, with those done, I could go straight into years 5 through 7, but that would lead to a lot of time doing the cleaning, and I don't want to do all that at once. So I immediately began to clean up for years 1 through 4. It actually isn't that bad at all. It only took me about 5.5 hours. What needs to be done is unlocking a dark wizard, a character that can use keys, a Ravenclaw character, and that's about it to be ready for the cleanup. I would recommend getting all the time stud multipliers so you have more money, and getting the detectors, as that will make everything way easier. After I had all that done, I would go through all the levels, and those are all pretty easy, I'll admit. You know the drill on this channel. We do love our cleaning Harry Potter, cleaning Harry Potter, cleaning Harry Potter, and I'm cleaning Harry Potter, cleaning Harry Potter, cleaning Harry Potter, cleaning Harry Potter, and I'm cleaning Harry Potter. I'm done with this level, and this level, and this one. I'm done with this level, this level, and this one. I'm done with this level, this level, and this one. I'm done with this level, this level, and this one. Now we move on to cleaning Hogwarts. Have so much money, it's not a concern. Do the bonus levels, yes sir. But the golden red bricks and the characters. I'm done with everything, save the last sir. Ooh, you already know. I cleaned Harry Potter, I cleaned Harry Potter, I cleaned Harry Potter, yeah, I cleaned Harry Potter, I cleaned Harry Potter, I cleaned Harry Potter, I cleaned Harry Potter, yeah, I cleaned Harry Potter. Ooh. Boom, boom, 100%, never felt better. Boom, boom. Overall, with 1 through 4, I had a very good time getting the 100%, and it wasn't even that grindy. I was at the 100% mark at about 16 hours, which I would say is pretty good for a casual playthrough. Some things I would love to point out that I absolutely really enjoy about this game is that it is very puzzle-oriented, which can also kind of be its downfall. Sometimes you'll go for a while with no form of combat, which tends to kind of be boring, but I think this game also does a really good job at adjusting to that and making sure that it's not necessarily a bad thing. Also, every boss fight in this game feels really different, and it makes it really refreshing, especially after playing games like LEGO Marvel Super Heroes 2, which has a lot of rinse and repeat. Post 1 through 4 yap aside, it's time to move on to game 2. LEGO Harry Potter years 5 through 7. We are jumping straight in with more traumatic family experience for Harry. His stupid cousin and his friends are making fun of Harry for no reason, and then it starts storming, so they need to find cover. The cover does not help, and somehow they are attacked by Dementors for seemingly no reason. Harry saves them both, but magic is illegal for minors, so this isn't good, and will lead to stuff. Harry goes to bed and wakes up with a bunch of wizards standing in his door, so obviously he follows them. We then get to experience a nice calm flying level until everyone falls off their brooms and we have to bring them back to consciousness. Pirate Wizard regains aura by opening this magic doorway, and we re-meet with the Weasleys and Hermione. This is when we discover Harry has Wizard Court, and we go to the Ministry, which looks amazing in this game. Harry narrowly evades the law with the help of Dumbledore, and he is able to go back to Hogwarts. And the first level of this game is over. Now we're back in the open world of this game, and it's so much better. Not gonna lie. So much expansion, and it's just glorious. More on that later though. Once we make it to Hogwarts, we're introduced to the whimsical Luna Lovegood. She's decently important. We discover that one of Harry's ops from the Ministry is one of the Hogwarts professors now, so obviously that's not going to be a good thing. Her first thing she does is banning all her spells that we worked so hard to learn in the first game. We then get a little weird section where Harry and Luna have to feed these like grief horse things that you can only see if you've witnessed murder. It is finally time to have a structure level now. With the return of Voldemort, Sirius Black warns Harry that he needs to get a group together to defend themselves, so that's what we do. After a bit of a time skip, we get to go to Hogsmeade and recruit all our wizard friends, some more important than others, and the goal is to create a rebellion group. Once we've recruited everyone, the level is over. While casually strolling the castle, one of the members, Neville, discovers the Room of Requirement, which is a perfect place to secretly learn new spells with our new cool gang. And now we're introduced to the dueling system of this game. It is a lot like that level that I was telling you that I love because of the duel, but I don't have the same love that I do for it in that first game. And I'll give more on that later. Harry keeps having dreams which feel like visions from Voldemort, so he goes to Snape for help to have Voldemort not invade his mind, or whatever. This has us revisit sections from Harry's memory, and I like the concept of this level a lot. Realistically, it's really just doing fetch quests over and over again, but I enjoyed it. After the last fetch quest, the level finishes up. Now we are ready to actually learn a spell in a class. The spell is a lot like the lightsaber cut through wall thing that LEGO Star Wars 3 introduced. This spell will be used quite a bit, honestly. They head back to the secret wizard place from earlier for the winter, and Harry has a talk with Sirius Black about family stuff. We then see his cray-cray sister escaped Azkaban, and I'm starting to think that place might not be very secure after all. Harry and the gang get back to school and teach everyone how to take care of Dementors. Just then, the stupid hoe breaks the wall and discovers their secret their headquarters. In our grief, Hagrid decides it would be a good time to introduce us to his half-brother giant guy. He likes Hermione a bit too much, so we have to save her from his grafts to finish off that section. After that, we then go back to Snape for help, but Harry crashes out and gets in Snape's mind this time, and discovers all the trauma caused by Harry's parents. This isn't cool at all, but the level is over, so that's pretty neat. The next part starts with Professor Stupid Idiot giving an exam, so Fred and George decide it's goblin time and they want to destroy the whole shebang. So they need to create something to do just that. This actually takes us to a part of Hogwarts that is able to be explored on free play, and I didn't know that until like the last hour of me playing this game. Yeah, anyways, they build a super rocket and everyone finally has some fun this year. But no fun allowed, guys, because Harry decides it's time to be dramatic about a vision of Voldemort at the Ministry doing devious things, so he forces all of his friends to go take him on. And it's totally not going to be a trap. We must travel through the poopy professor's flu powder to get to the Ministry, though. This gives us this section. Anyways, they get caught and somehow convince her to go out to the woods, where they get her kidnapped to end the level. That aside, Harry gathers all his friends and they ride the death horses to go to the Ministry to save the day. Once we somehow get into the Ministry's room of orbs, we have to navigate through it because it is strangely dark. We find the prophecy orb we were looking for, and it turns out to be a trap, and Voldemort just wanted Harry to get it for him the whole time. Whoa. Ginny ain't about that life and attempts literal murder via explosion spells, and then crap goes down as everything falls off shelves, so we get this game's first chase level. They then all fall out a door that leads to nowhere other than some portal of souls or something. I forget. Finally, some adults get involved and fight all the Death Eaters, so we get some action. If this section was the boss fight, it would be perfect. It's a full collection of using almost all of Harry and Sirius Black's abilities to defeat the Death Eaters, who are holding our friends hostage. But then it cuts to this segment, which is cool, but it really is just switch spells and button mash, which makes for an uninteresting gameplay. We defeat them until Sirius gets backdoored, and then Harry chases down his murderer. This leads him straight into Voldemort. Dumbledore comes to the rescue though, and this is an exception to the boring dual boss fights because holy crap, this is epic. This is probably the best boss fight in the whole game. The way they use the fire snake and all the broken glass is pure cinema. Once we hurt him enough, he goes inside Harry and tries to take him over. But Harry remembers the importance of the friends we make along the way and pushes him out. I also think the way the game does this is pure cinema. The Ministry members show up and now they believe Voldy Waldy is back in business. That concludes the level and the first year of years 5 through 7. To start off year 6, we watch the Death Eaters kidnap the wand guy. That is because they are trying to recruit powerful individuals to their cause. Harry bags a baddie, then Dumbledore plays some elite defense and takes Harold out of the ISO situation. We go to break into a dude's house, which is pretty snazzy. We get into the house and propaganda around and eventually find out bro is hiding as a chair. So we recruit him to become a professor at Hogwarts because that just makes sense at this school. We then see Snape take an oath with the lady that is Malfoy's mom to protect him at Hogwarts, which means Draco Malfoy is officially evil and not just a brat. Harry sees Malfoy sussly walking, so he follows him Joe Goldberg style. We see there's an ominous closet thing that is definitely just a silly little closet and nothing more. Now this long intro level is over. From there we buy ×4 studs and it is finally time to head to Hogwarts. Harry gets punished for his strange creepy behaviors and gets conked by a door. Then Luna finds him using these silly little goggles that become an important gameplay mechanic to solve puzzles. We get to potions class led by Professor Sofa, and Harry discovers a book that was once owned by the Half-Blood Prince. See what they did there? This gives us a leg up on literally everyone so we can easily make the potion of death. Anyways, we go to Dumbledore and he gives us a flashback facial and it takes us all the way back to a time where young Dumbledore was going to an orphanage. A lot like the flashback level from years 1 through 4, this level is pretty epic and unique. We meet a little Tom Riddle and tell him about how he's a wizard. He also gives us the goal of obtaining Couch Guy's memories. This quest takes us to Hogsmeade to abuse his trust. We then become a bartender for him and clean his room, which is kind of a strange thing for a student to be doing, don't you think? We then get invited to a party of his and Hermione's being chased around by some weirdo, so we uncover her from safety, because if you aren't unsafe, you're not at Hogwarts. But we actually uncover Malfoy snooping in on the party. Snape takes Malfoy and Harry is sus, so he follows them and discovers that Snape is working with Malfoy. And we already know Malfoy is working with Voldemort, so this is not good. But it is good that the level is done. This game is 90% walking around Hogwarts. 10% levels. This is feeling very true. But now we get to learn a new spell, and it's the spell that conjures water from thin air, which could save the world or whatever, quite honestly. But we use it pretty sparsely throughout the rest of this game. We head to Ron's house to enjoy a nice getaway, then the wizard terrorists attack and set the whole place ablaze. Harry is still stupid and he follows the murderer of Sirius and leaves everyone else to try and catch up. We do just that after a bit of puzzling around. I don't like this level because it reminds me a lot of Ohio, so we will be moving on to the end. We get a boss fight that isn't just the duel mechanic spammed over and over again. Then we see the Weasley's house become set afloat. flame. We go back to Hogwarts and relearn Jenny's favorite spell. Then Ron gets love roofied. So we meet up with our favorite guy and counter the curse. Harry sees Malf heading to the bathroom, so we decide to steal a glance, and it leads to us getting into a duel. He then runs and hides in a stall, so we make the water rise to get him out of there, and do the whole duel shebang once again. Harry then uses his evil book to use a spell and nearly kills bro, and runs away. The group then makes him get rid of the book, so Jenny calls ISO and makes him take it to the room of requirement. Then she kisses him. That ends the level. We then decide that it's time to catch the comfy professor by backdooring him at the greenhouse. We make our way past this giant plant and get to Hagrid, and we see the stupid spider finally kicked rocks and died, so we decide to profit by taking its venom, as you see here. After making him rich, the dude finally gives us his memories and we can be on our way. We go to Dumbledore, and using the memories, we basically found out that there are different Horcruxes, or pieces of Voldemort, spread out that are keeping him alive. So our plan is to destroy one of those right now, I'm pretty sure. We make our way through a creepy cave until we get to a section which is arguably a lot of people's least favorite section, but once again, I'm gonna have to not agree and say I don't mind this section. I actually even kind of like it. Dumbledore needs to take sips of the scissor while Harry blows back a bunch of dudes as they try to not allow him to do that. Once he has consumed enough, they get the freak out of there, but then we see a bunch of evil wizards enter the room of requirement. Malfoy attempts murder, but can't go through with it, so Snape has to do it. And just like that, Dumbledore dies. This makes Harry all mad, and he chases them all down to Hagrid's hut. We duel Snape, but even though we win, we lose, and we find out Snape is the Half-Blood Prince. With this tragic news, the year comes to an end. Year 7 time, and here's your second reminder since it's been a while. Subscribe so I have to get a tattoo of your guys' choice. Anyways, the game starts with everyone showing up at Harry's house, and they all go on a little night drive, but they end up being attacked by Death Eaters. Hagrid and Harry escape them in a It is time for a wedding now, but before that, we see a guy from the Ministry come and give the trio items that Dumbledore decided to leave them with. Ron now has the Deluminator that just takes light sources and transfers them. Hermione gets an infinitely deep bag, and Harry doesn't get anything of use at the moment. At the wedding, they are attacked by Death Eaters, which, like, duh? Anyways, after attacking back enough, they teleport the freak out of Dodge to complete the first level of this year. We go to some diner, and it leads to us getting jumped by undercover Death Eaters. We get a pretty cool duel purely for the concept of fighting in a diner. Once it's over, the three decide they need to get inside the Ministry to see what the frick's going on. So they use the good old disguise potion, and we are inside. We then get split up from the brains of the group because this stupid idiot requires her. So Harry and Ron need to do a whole lot of bogus to progress through the Ministry. We finally get to the courtroom, and Ron's wife, well, the guy he's disguised as, his wife, is being interrogated. So since he isn't actually there to protect her, it becomes our duty, and we have an epic duel to help her break out. We finally get her get back on the garden tool and take back the amulet she's wearing, which just happens to be a Horcrux. This doesn't make the Dementors that protect the place very happy. So we get yet another. We Patronus blast them and get the freak out of Dodge once again. They all take turns trying to break the Horcrux, but they can't. It also makes whoever has it like envious and power hungry, so that isn't very much in our favor. We're in an open world segment unlike any other in the game so far, so I think that's worth noting. Maybe not, but it's winter now and Ron is being all weird and angry. So Harry and Hermione go to check out this grave of his parents to find out anything they can. After defiling enough graves, we get to the right one, and some old lady sneaks up on us, so we talk to her in her house. We go upstairs to see where she went, but we find out that it's actually Nagini, aka Voldemort's giant snake. So we gotta deal with that in a boss fight where we just keep pushing her back. After enough pushing, we once again get the freak out of Dodge, and this level ends. Harry, on a casual winter stroll, sees a Patronus-like deer, so he follows it to a random lake and sees the sword of Gryffindor inside. So he hops in. Ron is chill again, so he follows Harry down there. This brings us to this game's underwater level, which is very straightforward, and I have like 0 issues with it. I definitely like it better than the one from 1 through 4. Blah blah blah, they get to the sword and they're going to try to destroy the amulet with it. Only problem is that it's freaking evil and becomes its own boss battle. It basically shoots out things of Ron's insecurities, and Ron has to deal with them to be able to strike the amulet. I like this. And I also like that we destroyed another Horcrux and that the level is over. We get back to Hermione and she makes a connection to Luna's father, so we need to go to her house and see what's going on. Before they get there, we see the Death Eaters have already been there and made an agreement with Luna's dad, so this isn't good. Once our trio gets there, they're none the wiser and do some little things to get inside the house. Once inside, they get a little story time about the powers of the Elder Wand or something like that. This brings us to one of the most unique sections in any LEGO game ever. I applaud the boldness, TT. It's a 2D platforming section with 3 characters, all with different abilities, and you have to use every single one in different ways to get through the level. Once they conclude the story, we realize we've been ambushed, so once again, we do what we do best and get the freak out of Dodge, and that one's over. Although we made it out of there, we still have another group of bad individuals who ambush us in the woods. We aren't able to do our signature move and end up in some creepy mansion. We get sent to the basement where we re-meet with Luna and Mr. Ollivander, the wand guy from earlier, and Griphook the Goblin, who have all been captured. After a bit of trying to break out, out, Dobby appears, but this time he decides to be useful and help us get out. We then save Hermione by having a small duel section with Malfoy and his mommy. We get some hits on Bellatrix and we do it all over again. This is until we finally get to duel Bellatrix and end the level and get the frick out of Dodge. But Dobby gets the Cedric treatment and doesn't quite make it out alive. R.I.P. Comment I crowed if you made it this far in this video. We then see Voldemort take the Elder Wand from Dumbledore's grave to conclude 1 out of 2 of the Deathly Hallow movies. The next and last story section of the LEGO Harry Potter collection starts with us interrogating Griphook into getting us into Gringotts, the giant wizard bank. The goal is to get us into Bellatrix's vault. We bribe him and he agrees. We use the power of identity theft to go through with this plan and everything is going good. Well, until we get into the vault and everything starts to multiply when it's touched. This would be a problem if I didn't need to use copious amounts of parkour to reach this trophy, which is conveniently a Horcrux. We're making a break for it until confronted by a dragon, so we decide to take control of the dragon and kill goblins and fly away with it. This gets us done with that one and we're on to finding the crown of Ravenclaw. We aren't completely sure where it is though, so we go to Hogsmeade to meet up with a dude who I'm pretty sure is Dumbledaddy's brother. Hogsmeade freaking sucks right now though, so we have to tear through the streets to get to him. After some good tearing, we find him just in the nick of time. We're then greeted by Neville, who takes us to Hogwarts, which is being ran like a particular camp system in the 40s. Once we're there, we assemble our rowdy group of students to save the place. Alongside of Professor McGonagall, we stage a coup to overthrow Snape, who has been placed as headmaster of Hogwarts somehow. We're honestly very successful, and now he's the one that's getting the frick out of Dodge. And that level's finished. Now Hogwarts is free of losers and ready to defend itself. Luna lets on that she knows where the crown of Ravenclaw might be, so she takes Harry to find it. This is a pretty average going through Hogwarts section, and nothing much to say about it. On our trail to defending the castle, Neville and Finnegan start to plant an explosive compound so that the invaders that are coming can't get in. This is a pretty unique section for this game, so I'm glad that they paired this with the first slower section. After planting all the explosives, Ron and Hermione go down to the Chamber of Secrets to destroy the trophy Horcrux the same way they destroyed the diary with the Basilisk Fang. Ron also learned snake knees from Harry, so that's pretty cool. Once they get into the chamber where the Basilisk died, they destroy the Horcrux. This makes Voldemort crash out and destroy the protective barrier around Hogwarts, so Neville and Finnegan make a mad dash while the bridge explodes and Ron and Hermione finally confirm their intense love to make this one end. We then see Harry being followed by evil Malfoy as he goes to look for the crown, so Hermione and Ron follow closely on their trail. Harry gets the crown and crap goes down and flames come up as Malfoy's dumb friend ignites the place on fire. Not cool, bro. So we have to make an escape, but good guy Harry comes back to save them all before then making their escape. And that's the whole level. Harry gets a vision of Snape and Voldemort chilling at what I believe to be the greenhouse, so we need to make our way there. Trolls are also storming the castle and the place is getting utterly destroyed. We don't care though, because we have one thing in mind and I will beeline there. We make our way out there and we see Voldemort turn on Snape, so we must get inside to see what that's all about. We then find out Snape was actually on our side the whole time and he really wanted to protect Harry because he truly loved Lily, Harry's mom. So all this time of hating on Snape wasn't fair to him, but I am incapable of admitting my own mistakes, so no apologies for him. Harry wants to go take on Voldemort now because he thinks that will make everything better. Alright, this is finally the last level of this game. So Harry goes up to Voldemort and takes it like a good boy. Harry manages to survive the literal killing curse because he's Wizard Jesus, of course, and then he takes on Voldemort. Ron, Hermione, and Neville then try to make it to Harry to support him. Voldemort low-key jocks Harry and leaves us to deal with this big old snake. Not a problem though, because we then turn into Ron's mom and another one of the members of the rebellion group and make our way through a broken part of Hogwarts. After enough time, Mommy Weasley takes on Bellatrix and sends her to the Shadow Realm. We finally cut back to Ron and them and have a similar fight against Nagini as the one in the house earlier. This time though, we have the Sword of Gryffindor and we slice Bro's head clean off. Now finally we get to run our one against Voldemort and it's pretty anticlimactic, I must say. We button mash enough and he gets Thanos snapped. And just like that, all of it's over. We do then see a cutscene from 10 years in the future. All the power couples are still together and the stories portion of this game is over. Alright, now it's time to do the super lovely part of this playthrough. I'm not going to take as much time explaining the cleaning process because it is exactly like the first game's cleaning process. There are more areas in this game and I can honestly say it felt like it because I was cleaning this game for like forever. You know, I'll just say montage and move on.
Queen Harry Potter, 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 Queen Harry Potter. Queen Harry Potter, ho, long arm cleaning a long arm video. I'm cleaning all the levels, I cleaned all those, there was no more. And I got the bricks that are gold and red, instance and barrel, and I got 100%. I'm done with this. Queen Harry Potter, 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 Queen Harry Potter.
In conclusion, the LEGO Harry Potter collection was a really fun experience. I got really immersed in this universe once again through these games. I even went back and rewatched all the movies, some of them even twice. These are very opposite games in my opinion though. One game is very school oriented and mainly involves solving tasks through the things we learned through the game, and the other is more about trying to defeat a dark wizard that is terrorizing us. This also shows through the gameplay. We have big grand duels in one game and more strategic leveled gameplay in the other. This being said, it doesn't make one game better than the other for me. Sure, I will say that the duel system in 5 through 7 is way overused, but it also made me appreciate the gameplay that was more than just spam the button. Okay, that aside, is it worth shilling out $40 frickin' for it? I would say no at that price, but if you find it on sale around $20, go for it. It's a very good looking remaster for games that are 13 and 15 years old. Sure, there is really nothing new, but LEGO games are timeless, so there's really nothing old either. Let me know your opinions in the comments if you made it through this journey with me, especially if you think I'm an idiot who has no clue what he's talking about. And subscribe so I can get a tattoo that will change the way females look at me. Thanks for watching. I know this was a long video, but I played these games so close to each other that it felt valid to put them in the same video, and it made me work harder on a video than ever before. If you really enjoyed this, send it to someone with the greatest attention span so I can get greater attention.